The topic of my presentation is food security in ASEAN countries, an overview of rice self-sufficiency amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Food security in terms of food sufficiency is a subject of concern for many countries, especially when there is a disaster or event that disrupts food production or food supply chain. So in view of COVID-19 pandemic, food security has become a subject of growing interest. From the perspective of ASEAN, there are many questions have arisen. To what extent are ASEAN countries are food self-sufficient? What is the level of rice self-sufficiency among ASEAN countries? Is the existing food security policy feasible for ASEAN countries? So the issue here is that when we have COVID-19 and there is a need to have lockdown or movement control order, will that affect supply chain? If let's say we extend the control order, will that affect what will happen to the supply of food, specifically rice in the next 3 or 6 months, for example? But this study would like to examine what is the self-sufficiency level of ASEAN countries. So this is a snapshot of rice production in ASEAN in 1967 and 2018. Some countries experiencing of growth over 300%. Brunei experiencing a decline. This is a table showing rice trade in 1967 for ASEAN countries. Most countries experiencing deficit, with exception to Thailand, Myanmar, and Cambodia. For 2018, more countries experiencing trade surplus for rice. Those countries experiencing surplus are Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. For the methodology of my research, I compute few ratios, which are namely production per capita, consumption per capita, import dependency ratio, and self-sufficiency ratio. Similar ratios have been used in many past studies. So these are the results of my study, all the 4 ratios, the first 2 ratios here. And this is the other 2 ratios, the import dependency ratio and self-sufficiency ratio. So this table 5 shows that the import dependency ratio and self-sufficiency ratio for ASEAN countries. It reveals that the IDR has increased by more than 30% in Brunei. Singapore recorded an over 20% drop in IDR. Changes in other countries were less than 10%. So the self-sufficiency ratio results support the previous ratio interpretation. For the period 1967 to 2018, Table 5 indicates that while Brunei recorded an over 30% decline in the level of self-sufficiency, Malaysia, Indonesia, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Philippines, and Vietnam recorded changes of less than 15%. So in total, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam was rice self-sufficient in 2018. So as a concluding remark, ASEAN as a regional bloc may consider further enhancing their existing policies on food security. ASEAN Economic Community may introduce additional specific programs, policies on food security to complement the ongoing programs, such as the one under ASEAN +3 Emergency Rice Reserve, so that ASEAN is well prepared in the event of disasters or pandemics that could disrupt the regional food supply chain.